Welcome to Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend. It's your pal Sal here, and it's already mid-June, which means the Colorado Rockies have officially been eliminated from the playoffs. I'm kidding. No, I'm not kidding. I just checked the standings. I'm not kidding. It really is roughly halfway point of the year. So today, we're going to do something different. Rather than give out losing bets today, we're going to focus on our very own 2025 Year in Sports halftime show. We're looking back at all the big, unbelievable, and of course, ridiculous moments from the past 6 months. And believe it or not, they don't all involve the Dallas Mavericks and Nico Harrison. Now, because this is a halftime show, we still need a great act. You know who they are. They're my wizards of wagering, my gurus of gambling, my barons of betting, my overlords of the odds at D3, Harry, Brother Bry, Darren, the Parlay Kid. What is happening, fellas?
What's going on, Sal?
What's happening, Sal?
What's going on, buddy?
I'm excited for this show in honor of 2025 sports halftime. We're going to look back at some of the best, worst, and funniest moments from January 1 until now, but we're going to do it in wagering fashion. So what we did is we put together a bunch of fun questions, everything from first half of 2025 MVP to biggest sports scandal, worst firings, bet aches. There's a bunch of them. We give out odds on them. They're going to make our picks. Does it sound good? Harry, does that sound good?
Sounds great, Sal. Sounds great.
Okay. Now, listen, this is nothing from November or December 2025. I feel like I have to explain this to you, Harry. It has to be in 2025, right? You know how the calendars work?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right. So listen, because you were so funny in your response there, let's start off with this one. What was the funniest sports moment of 2025? Is it Tracy Morgan vomiting on the court, 2-1 odds at Madison Square Garden? Is it Shaq running to the bathroom mid-show during the TNT inside the NBA? 5-1 odds. Steve Ballmer flying Clipper fans to Denver for Game 7, and then they lose by 20, 10-1 odds. Or golfers not recognizing Baby Doll at the Masters. Oh, that's a fun one. 25-1 odds. Or you could go even with the field. All right. Parlay Kid, start us off. What are you going with?
Sal, I'll go chalk here with Tracy Morgan at 2-1. And I think just because this was Tracy Morgan vomiting on the court side made it so funny. I'm not sure if anybody else had done it, that it would be something to laugh at. So it wasn't just the vomiting. It was the sheer volume of the vomiting. It seemed to go on forever. I haven't seen that much vomiting since maybe you jetting out of my car about circa 1990 after an all-you-can-eat buffet at the Rose and Thistle down in Huntington. So to me, Tracy Morgan pulling that off, he's the only one who could have pulled that off, Sal. Only one.
I had a little bit of an eating disorder back then in the early 90s. I'd hit every buffet there was in Eastern Long Island. But yeah, Tracy's story, I think, was different. He claims he was food poisoned. Kid, I think that might have been a different story behind it. All right, Brother Brian, what was the funniest moment of 2025 so far?
Well, I'm a little sicker than you guys, but for me, it was something that happened relatively recently. But the Sean Casey tearing his hamstring, right? He returned to Cincinnati to play in the game with the Savannah Bananas, right? And the thing is, he couldn't have been running slower to first base, but then he tries to stretch it to go to second, picks up a little bit of speed, barely. He's still barely moving. He tears his hamstring. But, Sal, this is why, though, I fear. I mean, I'm 45 years old now. Casey, I think, is 51. I fear doing anything physically anymore because I feel like this is the same thing that would happen to me. And everybody would be laughing at me if this happened to be in softball. I mean, I for sure would be laughing at my friends like crazy if this happened to one of us.
Sean Casey would laugh at you too in retaliation, I think. So now he's just got to wait for that. All right, Harry, funniest moment 2025?
I'm going to do the Ballmer situation. I get what he's trying to do. He's a great owner, brand new arena. He means well. He gets the fans pumped up sitting courtside, but they never can get it done. Flying fans to Denver for Game 7. It's ridiculous. It's pretty cool that he was doing that, but there's only one problem, and it's a pretty big problem, is they didn't show up. The team didn't show up. They got rolled, like you said, out by 20. What a waste. What a waste by Ballmer.
Yeah, the wall, as they're called, didn't factor in. The team ran into a wall. So pretty funny. I suggested that he make them walk back. But yes, you're right. It probably wasn't their fault. All right, I'm going mid-range here, 5-1. Shaq running off to the bathroom inside the NBA. Happened like a month ago, a little more. I love it. I can't believe it happened. And I also can't believe it took this long to happen. I guess he was drinking some olive oil. He was doing some olive oil cleanse. with his diet. It seems like that should have been like an off-season diet for this very reason.
Yeah.
And Kenny and Charles were right there with the one-liners. Take some matches with you. Well, oh, he has to do this. I think Ernie even says he has to do this diet for 2 weeks. He's going to miss a lot of airtime. And please turn his mic on. So, and then they have a porta potty for him the next night or the very next show. So classic
Awesome.
Shaq there. I can't wait to see how ESPN F's up this show. All right, so that's how it works. That was one category. All right, listen, let's move on. Best sports rivalry 2025. Is it Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, -250, big favorite. Cody Rhodes, John Cena, 10-1 odds. Sovereignty and journalism, 15-1 odds. Or Harry and technology, 20-1. That's a miracle. He's here with us on the show. Or you could get the field at even. You want to say, Harry, you want to say you and technology? You started this off. We got a nice shot of like the back of your computer before we fixed it. So, but you don't have to say.
I'm in a different time zone. I'll just leave it at that for now. So I'm a little tired. But listen, I'm going to do what you just mentioned, Sal, the match. I'm going to do Sinner Alcaraz. These two, like you mentioned, just played an epic 5.5 hour match in Paris for the French Open Championship. We're going to see these two battle for a long time, considering they're just 22 and 23 years old. They're the next Bjorn and McEnroe, but they're even better.
All right. Parlay Kid. Oh, this is a good one. This actually should have made the big board here. Give us this one.
Yeah, I'm taking field. So was there anything better so far in 2025 than the Canada USA hockey series during that mini break
great
there? That was absolutely fantastic. I think obviously there's a rivalry a little bit anyway, especially when the Olympics come around. But boy, oh boy, I thought that was absolutely spectacular. It was a great job by hockey to put this on for us. And I think that captivated, it was probably more captivating than the NHL finals themselves were. So to me, that was the best rivalry so far in 2025.
Everybody tuned into that first game, but I think most started like 46 seconds in after there had already been 3 stoppages for fights. It was pretty excellent. We came out on the short side there. All right, Brian, before we get to you, I know you're big with the WNBA. Instead of Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, I'm going off the board here and saying Angel Reese versus her first shot of every game. Now, she's had a lot of trouble making her first or any shot, really, and it's weird because she's the fastest WNBA player to get to 500 points and 500 boards, but it doesn't translate to betting on her unless you go against her. There are these guys who adopted their own version of Race to 10, which we're familiar with, and it's basically they make it a party, they dress up, they play music, they carry bricks, and they're all watching from one of their basements, and they've made a lot of money betting against Angel Reese to make her first basket, so much so that this prop has been taken down across the board on every book, on everything. So, but it was fun while it lasted. She's like 2-10 making her first shot. Her layup percentage, Bri, is 33%. You know what the league average is? Bri, what would you think the league average is?
63%.
12% the league average is on. No, the league average is 65%. So can't find this on, that's pretty good. Can't find this on, would have been like 73 if she weren't in the league. Don't bother looking on FanDuel for this. All right, Brian, give us yours.
Well, look, I think the Clark-Reese is probably the best individual rivalry right now, but I would say for team-wise, probably the Pacers and Knicks, right? It's become a renewed rivalry the last 2 seasons.
Tell your brother he was rooting for the Pacers against OKC.
For the
Big
Pacers,
Knicks fan.
But, but look, after one of the biggest rivalries in the '90s, it's come back. That series had physicality to it. It was intense. You got the choke sign back. I can't think. In 2025, in all honesty, I can't think of another rivalry that is probably better or more intense. Right? We just don't see, and this was what bothers Parlay Kid like crazy. There's just not a lot of rivalries if you think about it. Just think of all the teams. Not that many, or it wasn't competitive, I will say, the rivalries.
Yeah. So, all right. I agree. All right, let's move on to another one. Most embarrassing sports media moment of 2025. Is it Stephen A. Smith getting caught playing solitaire during NBA Finals, -350? Mel Kiper's draft meltdown, +200. Harry's NFL is scripted theory, 6-1 odds. Harry's walk judge, first 2 at-bats theory, 20-1 odds. Harry's fill-in-the-blank theory, I don't know, any Harry theory, really. Or you could take the field option at even. All right, Harry, what are you going to say?
20-1 odds. Who made 20-1 odds? That's a little high, isn't it?
You don't think? So you think? So you're saying it should be even more of a
More
embarrassing?
embarrassing.
I don't know.
Exactly.
Okay, Harry doesn't know how odds work. All right, listen, Harry, you do have one. You're going with the big favorite here.
I'm gonna go with Stephen A. Smith. Not just the solitary. Twice in a week on his show on ESPN, he got busted with his computer open as well. And he wants like what 8-10 million a year. Come on, playing solitary during the NBA
Once
finals.
he got paid.
20.
He already got
Oh.
paid. Yeah, 20.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, Mad Dog's show is listen when he rips somebody for being mad at something during the sports. He should do it in front of Stephen A. Smith for what he did there. That's awful.
All right, there you go. I do like how when Stephen A. addresses, he's like, I can multitask. I can do two things at once. I can play solitaire during a timeout. It's like, yeah, the problem is it wasn't during a timeout. And on every show now, when he goes on to defend himself, he says it was during a timeout. It wasn't. The camera shows that it was there was a play going on. All right, Parlay Kid, what are you going to say? You got Harry involved here.
Well, yeah, but Sal, how many times during a podcast you whip out your little betting sheet on your and you're crossing things off, right? You got
Yeah,
things
of
going.
course.
So I can't kill Stephen A. Smith
Thank
for
you.
doing
Thank
that.
you.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
even though
Parlay
yours
Kid
is-
watched the whole Dayton second half during one of our podcasts, I think.
That's correct. Exactly. Yeah, I remember that. That was a
Regular
great
season.
game.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, but Harry's NFL is scripted kind of nonsense. This isn't not just 2025. This is, you could go
Yeah.
back 30 years with Harry saying it's scripted. And what's even more ridiculous is he'll say it's scripted for the Chiefs to win, but yet still then bet against the Chiefs
Right.
to win the game. So it really never made any sense of him ever mentioning.
I never
how-
said I was smart. I just, think what's going to happen is going to happen.
That's true. That would have been confusing if you said that. Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's interesting with that. Yeah. Harry, well, listen, here's what I have a little more, we all met Harry around the same time, but I had a year on him when you guys didn't know him. And Harry's little brother, Scott, would always claim that the refs were fixing things. He claims he was at the Carrier Dome
brother.
and he saw a referee pull out a parlay card at halftime. Now he was sitting in 620, but he was able to see that it was a parlay card that the referee pulled out. And Harry's always looked up to his little brother, so he's just carrying on the tradition of this Gagnon gate here. All right, Bri, you also have a Harry theory. Is most controversial.
I'm gonna go Harry in the walk debate. I mean, Harry just proved multiple times in the last couple of minutes that he's not very good with numbers, right? So, even though, like, I think I first probably said this year, like, teams should pitch around Judge a little bit more than ever. I think sometimes, Harry will say things just to say things. So he comes up with a statement that Judge should be walked the first two at bats every game. Now, that's fine. Look, that's fine. If you can give facts as to why that should be. You just can't say that as a fact. And now we've had multiple people point out why that is not the case. Harry just disputes it. He's
also people who have said that I'm correct too.
Yeah, but you have had months now to come up with some data. I mean, look,
I said just make sure somebody else beats you besides Judge. Immediately the Yankees can't score squat.
Right. Well,
it's wins, right? And so we figured out wins above replacement. And the Yankees would have had two more wins had they locked Judge in the first two at bats.
Well, and look, you also have to think of this, right? We'll think of it this way, right? When Judge recently, right, when he went on a spell of not really hitting too well recently, right? There was multiple games in a row, 3 games in a row, the Yankees were shut out. If he walks twice in each one of those games to start, those are low-scoring games. Do they win?
It's Brian. You don't worry about it.
True,
don't worry. It's already
correct.
Double plays.
Yes.
Double plays.
You're right. You're right. He could have hit into double plays. You're exactly right. All right. I'm going to say the Kuiper meltdown was the most embarrassing sports media moment at plus 200. I still laugh about this. Mel Kiper's meltdown during the NFL draft was an unparalleled embarrassment for sports media. He's having a mental breakdown every pick that Shador wasn't taken. You talk about homerism. I don't even know what kind of dog he had in the race. Did he bet Shador to be picked in the first 19 and keep doubling down? Like, he was despondent every pick that went by. Like, he knows better, by the way. And I guess he just hated seeing that best player available for a day and a half was Shador Sanders. But this is a guy who's been wrong a million times, just like the rest of us, and he made a fortune off doing this draft. Good for him. I don't begrudge him. I just think the Browns took him eventually because they couldn't watch this man spiral anymore. It had nothing to do with Shador or Dion. It was Mel Kiper Jr. losing his shit. So I hope he recovers in time for the next draft. I don't think mentally he can, but we are going to recover mentally after we take this break. We'll be back with more of our first half of 2025 awards when we return. All right, welcome back to Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend. I'm here with the D3. We are going over our best bets for the first half of 2025. I can't believe 6 months already in the book. Let's keep it going with sports MVP in the first half. Here are our choices. Saquon Barkley, 7-2 odds. Alex Ovechkin, 6-1 odds. Caitlin Clark, 10-1 odds. Shannon Sharp, oh no, it can't be, 2,001 odds. Or the field at even. Let's go with you, Harry. Taking a field bet.
I'm going to go with SGA here. He's been he's an unbelievable season, Sal. He did in 2024 as well. He's a 30-point game machine. And year in, year out, he does it. Top of the leaderboard in steals as well. You can't stop the guy. He's tremendous. SGA.
Very good. Parlay Kid, you're agreeing with Harry. Not usually a good idea, but tell us why.
Yeah, I am agreeing with Harry. So if we can go back to when he was drafted, man, the Knicks took Kevin Knox 2 picks before SGA went.
Same guy.
How many times has that happened to the Knicks? That's amazing. It's set that franchise back years and years. But that being said, Sal, he is the best player in the NBA. He's MVP of the regular season here. And what I love about him, he plays a lot of minutes. He plays hard. He plays great defense. He does a little bit of everything. And he's gotten better every single year in the league, as the great ones do, Sal. Mm-hmm. He is the MVP so far of 2025.
Hot take. I don't think OKC gets as far as they did without him. I'm going to stick to it, Bri. I really am. Bri, you have another basketball player, not pro, but, well, actually pro now. Go ahead. Tell us
pro now. Yeah, I'm going to go with the field, and I'll go Paige Beckers. Look, it was only a few years ago when everyone was talking about Paige and not Caitlin Clark, but Paige took a back seat in 2023 and 2024 to her. So, she made a smart move staying in college for that extra year at UConn, and it really paid off for her. I would say there was a lot of pressure on her this year to win, and UConn did dominate the NCAA tournament. Just a few weeks later, she was the first overall pick in the WNBA draft. So I'll say Paige for me is the MVP so far in 2025.
Good choice. Good choice. We're hitting the field 4 times here because I am going with UFC, soon-to-be legend, Merab Dvalishvili. I know we're counting this year only, but back in September, very convincing victory over our guy, Sugar Sean O'Malley. Then in January, another convincing win over Nurmagomedov, and then an even more convincing rematch with a few weeks ago against Sugar Sean. Guys, I don't know who beats this guy. I guess we shouldn't be surprised because he hasn't lost in 7 years. Cejudo, Jan, Aldo, he's kind of taken them all out. Tough to place anyone ahead of Merab, and super cool fur hat too. Going off the board at even. We hit the field 4 times. All right, now surprise athlete of 2025 so far. Here are the odds. Jaden Daniels, 3-1 odds. JJ Spawn, U.S. Open winner, 7-1 odds. Cal Riley for Seattle Mariners, 10-1 odds. Cam Scatterbo, Arizona State, and now the New York Giants, 20-1 odds. Or the field at even. Harry, what are you going with?
I'm going to go with JJ Spawn, Sal. I think you said he was 150-1 to win the U.S. Open. He didn't fold when everyone thought he would. He was great at the Players Championship, losing a playoff to Rory. But even through bogeying 5 of the first 6 holes at Oakmont on Sunday and having to get medicine for his daughter at 3 in the morning because she was sick, didn't stop him. He got the job done. Birdie 17, birdies 18. And there was the longest putt of the entire tournament out of anybody. A guy out of nowhere. JJ Spawn is the guy at 7-1.
All right, Harry, Parlay Kid says that story is bullshit about helping his daughter at 3 in the morning. I don't know. I wasn't there. Parlay Kid must have inside information.
He's a nice guy, sure. D. He's not lying.
All right, he's a good guy. He could still be a nice guy and lie, Harry, right? You've proven that. All right. Brother Bry, what are you going with? You're taking a field bet, huh?
Yeah, well, I think Harry's Spawn one's good. He just cost me so much money. I could not go with him. Yeah, I'm going to go the field. I'll go Walter Clayton Jr. from Florida. Clayton put up great numbers for Florida, but he kind of took it to a new level, right? During March Madness, and not a lot of people knew of this guy, but he looked like Steph, right, during the tournament, especially in the games against Texas Tech and Auburn. And he went from someone who wasn't going to get drafted, also played at Iona, right, too, and wasn't going to get drafted to maybe a top 25 pick. So I'll say Walter Clayton, my surprise player of
junior, though, right?
Yeah,
Junior. Yeah.
Junior.
Okay.
Yep,
I
you're
got you. All right. Parlay Kid, Jaden Daniels, actually a lot of 2024, but did surprise us in 2025 for those couple games for sure.
Yeah, I think we can include this whole season in here for Daniels, being that it concluded in 2025. Sal, and I was his biggest supporter coming out of college. I loved him at LSU and even liked him a lot when he was with Arizona State. But I don't think anybody could have predicted how good he was going to be in the NFL so soon. He was absolutely dynamite. He is now entering year 2, and he's already an MVP candidate for sure. He did it all for this Washington team. He brought him back to relevance. So I have to take Daniels as my most surprising athlete in 2025.
Yeah, I am going to say I'm most surprised that you're surprised that nobody, even on the show, picked Jaden Daniels to do this well. I mean, that was my rookie of the year pick, but no, I understand.
Correct.
I get it. I didn't think he'd be that good. We are in trouble as Cowboys fans. Cam Scatterbo, 20-1. That's my pick. Arizona State running back, electrifying, mostly because he's white, let's face it. But listen, I know we heard about a lot of him out in the fall of 2024, but January, the first day of the year, in fact, his performance was enough for me to install him as a surprise athlete of 2025. Against Texas, 30 rushes, 143 yards, 8 receptions, 99 yards, 2 touchdowns, relentless. And for his efforts, he has to play for the putrid New York Giants. Isn't life funny, guys? All right, so that's my pick at 20-1. Biggest sports scandal. Let's move on. 2025. Is it the Luka trade -250? Is it Shador's draft drop at 5-1? The NBA draft lottery selection, 10-1 odds, torpedo bats 40-1, or the field at even? Harry, you and Bri have the same pick. I've not heard anyone complain about the NBA draft, the lottery part of it. Go ahead. Let's hear it.
Look, I gave my feelings on this before on AAO, and I'll just say that not only was it a scandal, a scam. It's amazing the arrogance. Adam Silver committed such an egregious act. I mean, ping pong balls. We talk ping pong balls. Where are the ping pong balls? There's no ping pong balls during the NBA lottery, the draft. You don't even see them. There's no ping pong balls. Nothing odds-wise ever beats this Mavs situation with Mavs getting the number 1 pick. Nothing would beat it. I mean, what's even more crazy is, besides the odds of that, Washington, Charlotte, and Utah get 4, 5, and 6. They don't get 2, 3, 4. They get 4, 5, 6 when they should be probably 1, 2, 3. It's amazing. Unbelievable.
Harry, you just said nothing competes odds-wise. JJ Spawn was 150-1, right? What was Dallas getting? 100?
They were
they
were like 1 point something percent.
All right.
Yeah.
We never saw Spawn's putt go in. Why? Where is it? All right. Brian, you agree with the NBA lottery?
Well, look, I agree. I agree with Harry. I'm not usually one for conspiracies, but I think that draft lottery, I think, first of all, it just pissed me off, right? That, it makes me angry that an incompetent GM could get rewarded with the first pick. And look, I know Kyrie, AD had to get hurt for them to slip into the lottery in the first place. But, that trade made so little sense. The only thing that could make sense is, well, let's reward this team some point in the future. But, I think the funny thing to me always is and this is kind of what Harry was saying, they come out in the lottery and they say this was audited by E&Y. So like that's going to make me fully confident that nothing is going on. I mean, if it is audited, I mean, you could tape, right? You could record what's happening, right? If you really wanted to prove that this is not fixed. So
sure,
I do agree with Harry a little bit there. So I will go with the draft lottery.
It's funny, like even I'm in a lot of fantasy drafts where the guy will record how CBS Sportsline randomizes the draft and like send it to you. And it's like, I'll do it exactly at 4 o'clock. So you know that this isn't the third time I'm doing that. Yes, you're right. There's a lot more effort in stupid fantasy leagues than there is in the NBA to prove authenticity. All right, Parlay Kid. Yeah, the Luka thing is still nuts. I was looking at our text to see what got the most WTF is going on here, maybe to figure it out like that. So yeah, this definitely was one of them, the Luka trade.
Yeah, and it's right. And I think with what these guys are saying about the draft lottery, which is weird that Harry thinks the draft lottery was fixed because he actually thought the trade favored the Mavericks. So why would they fix the draft if the trade favored the Mavericks? I don't know. I still don't get that one either.
Interesting.
But for
I
sure,
can think that way.
Of course you can. But yeah, Sal, this was the most ridiculous trade we have seen in a very long time, to take what maybe a top 3, 4, at least 5 player, even before maybe his prime NBA age, and trade him off to a team that also plays in the Western Conference, same conference that you play in, for a guy that's off injured. Made absolutely no sense to me. Something seemed way off there, Sal. So I'll say that, to me, was the biggest sports scandal of 2025 so far.
That's why it's favorite. Makes sense. All right, I'm going to go field Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson because it's still going on, this fiasco. I'm not sure. Bad job by you, Riverboat Captain, not putting this on his list. And it culminated, for now, at that CBS News interview on Sunday morning. It dominated the news cycle for like, I don't know, 6 weeks. He's selling a book. He's trying to advertise it. You know, she won't let him talk about how they met. It makes huge news. Pablo Torre and Bill Simmons feud about it almost brought down this entire Ringer website, for God's sake. So whatever it is, I still don't know if we should go over under 7.5 wins for Carolina. Lombardi says, don't worry. Maybe I'll take his advice. So there you go. It's going to be Coach Belichick and Jordan Hudson. All right, one more before we hit the commercial. Most disappointing athlete in 2025. I feel like we have a bunch to choose from. Is it Tom Brady in the Fox booth, 3-1 odds? Is it Juan Soto for the Mets? Oh, come on, 7-1 odds. Sam Darnold at 12-1 odds. You have to remember, highly touted during the year, and then his January games is where he fell apart. Or anyone who continues to lose to a Paul brother in a combat sport, 25-1 odds. Or you can go field at even. All right, Harry, you're going field.
Yeah, I'm going to go field. I'm going to go Joel Embiid. This is kind of 2024, 2025 kind of a bet, but just so disappointing, this guy. He deserves to get blasted for his actions, his lack of effort. And this team went. Usually the Sixers are still, they're not great, but they're always good. They've been good for a long time. They went 24-58 this year, and that a lot of it has to do with him. I'm just like, why was he even play? If he's not going to play, but he has to play in the Olympics, why is he even playing in the Olympics when he can't even play for his team and he causes so many problems? I'm going to go Joel Embiid. I mean, such a talent, but so disappointing at the same time.
All right. You hear that, Joel? Harry's disappointed in you. All right, Bri. Yeah, Brady at the top of the list here. Not great in his first year. What do you think?
Yeah, the favorite here, but yeah, Tom Brady in the booth. Like, I even as a Raiders fan, I always did like Brady. Never really much to hate here, greatest of all time. But and look, maybe he did get a little bit better as the season was going along, and maybe he's going to get much better. But I expected, it's kind of like when Romo, came out immediately and was great. I expected Brady to be great from the start. Especially after last year. I remember in the summer last year, he gave that speech at the Pats Hall of Fame, and everybody saw that, and they're like, "Oh man, this guy, I mean, he's great at everything. He's going to be phenomenal to start." And look, he's the smartest QB ever, I guess, right? Him and Peyton. But I needed him to explain more what was going on. I just felt like the whole year into the playoffs, I never really felt like I got that from him. So Brady was the most disappointing.
I needed him to explain how he duped Fox into writing him that check. That's what I needed, an explanation. All right, I'm going to go field, and that pick is everyone playing for Man City soccer club or team, whatever. Now, listen, I made a lot of money off of Man City last season. They won the championship. I was with them every step of the way. I was counting my money most Saturdays before 8 a.m. even hit on the West Coast. And then the problem is I rode them every step of the way again this year. Against Bournemouth, against Crystal Palace, against Nottingham Forest, against Liverpool, Arsenal. I had them at least +0.5 in every single one. All losses. Holland, De Bruyne, Silva, Diaz, all bums, all owe me money. Thanks for nothing, man. Shitty. Parlay, we could skip yours. We could just go to commercial. We're running late here. All right, go ahead. What do you want to say?
Well, so I'm going to take Juan Soto. And I've been a defender of him on the podcast, saying he'd get it going. But the bottom line is, when you have that type of contract that he has, basically the expectations are about a 300 average, 40 home runs, and probably about 100 to 120 RBIs in a season. Right now, he's on pace to go significantly below those numbers. So up to this point in 2025, he is the most disappointing athlete in my book.
So sad. So sad. They have to bring the show down heading into another commercial break. All right, we will be back with the D3. There's more categories for the first half of 2025 when we return on Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend. All right, we are back. Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend. I'm here with the D3. We're going over our best bets and best awards for the first half of 2025 in the sports world. Let's keep it going with our category, worst firing of 2025. Is it Tibbs, head coach of the Knicks, 2-1 odds? Mike Malone, 4-1 odds, head coach of the Denver Nuggets. The Around the Horn staff, 8-1 odds. Or Miracosta High School wrestling coach, sorry, Kenny, 50-1 odds. Hope you're doing well. That sucks. All right, let's go. Oh, Parlay Kid, I was surprised you didn't go with Tibbs here. Very vocal about Tibbs. Yeah.
Well, that's why, Sal. It would have been too easy for me to go with Tibbs because I'm one of the probably his staunchest supporters for sure. I'll have to go with NHL Peter DeBoer of the Dallas Stars here, Sal. Because look, when we talk about Tibbs's record, his record with the Dallas Stars is outstanding. 149, 68, and 29. Three straight conference finals appearances. But because he couldn't get to the big one, he couldn't take that next step, kind of like Tibbs. He's gone. I get it. It's a results business. But boy, oh boy, he's been in the Final Four for 3 straight years. I'm not sure if a coach could do much better than that. So he's the guy I got to roll with here. Really, really a bad firing by the Dallas Stars.
All right. There's been a few. Bri, you will go with Tibbs at 2-1.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Tibbs. And yeah, like Darren was saying, Darren's the biggest supporter of Tibbs there is. And, you know, I
not anymore. Not anymore.
Look, I could have gone, you know, I could have gone like either way. But look, the thing is, as it turned out, right, the Knicks rushed that firing so badly. It was as if, right, they weren't thinking straight after the Game 6 loss, right? And then they you know, what was the plan by the Knicks? They started requesting to talk to every team's coach under contract after that. Everybody rejected them. So you can only fire someone if it's very clear who you are going to take immediately. What's the better alternative?
I didn't know that. You work in HR? I had no idea.
I know. What's the better alternative? I mean, I mean, to me, they botched that from botched it right after season. Too many emotions got involved, I think, probably.
Harry, Mike Malone was the Tibbs before Tibbs happened. 4-1 odds.
Right. I mean, still till today, a lot of question marks why Malone was actually fired 4 games before his Nuggets started the playoffs. Don't forget, he won a title 2 years ago. Look, the guy's from Queens. I don't know why the Knicks haven't hired him yet.
Interesting. All right. Get on the phone with the Dolans. Figure it out. I'm going to go field Jared Mayo of the Patriots. Now, listen, I don't think this is the worst in that it was the most outrageous or the least deserving firing, but the guy wouldn't start his best running back. He had his best cornerback on the Rams, number 3 receiver. I'm going over. He called his team soft at one point. He blamed his coordinators for plays that turned out that he called. You know, you just knew there was a 40-7 drubbing coming there. Plus, it pissed Simmons off so much having him around. I loved it. And more importantly, we need inept coaches. My biggest fear is that every coach knows how to coach and every quarterback knows how to complete a pass late in the game. And then who are we going to bet on, right, Harry? So let's hope Jared Mayo has a nice year hiatus and then gets assigned to like the Dolphins in 2026 so we have a team to short. We'll just hold the Mayo for 1 year. All right, one more here. Biggest sucker bet 2025. Is it Chiefs over Eagles, 2-1 odds? Celtics over Knicks, 5-1 odds? St. John's to the Final Four, 10-1 odds? Or that Taylor and Travis would be engaged by summer, 25-1? Or the field at even? Brian, you have a good one that wasn't listed. You're going field.
Yeah, I'm going to go the field, and I'm going to go Duke over Houston in the Final Four. Look, Duke was a 4.5-point favorite. I am choosing this because I had a ton on the money line in that game. I had them tied to everything, and there was a point in that game they just seemed heads and shoulders above the rest, right? All the remaining ones left in the Final Four, and they were up 14 with 8 minutes to go. They then went about 5 minutes without scoring, but then even after that, they were still up 7 with 80 seconds left in that game. We know what really happened, right? They were up 1, and then there was that bad foul call on Cooper Flagg. off of the missed free throws. So that, which
Right.
led to free throws and loss. So for me, that was my biggest sucker bet because I did think, the line wasn't that big, and I just thought they were much better than Houston, even though Houston was great. But
All right.
yes.
Parlay kids stay in the same tournament, March Madness. Yeah, everybody likes St. John's going to the Final Four.
Yeah, and from day one, before the year started, I had them going to the Final Four. So I was really doubling down coming into the tournament with St. John's to make a run. But Sal, everybody had talked about it, their shooting woes. I didn't buy into it. I should have, Sal. They just couldn't shoot the ball. They weren't a good shooting team all year, and you need to shoot the ball well in the tournament to make a run. I bought into the hype. St. John's cost me, but I think they'll make a run back at it in 2026, though, Sal. But yeah, for me, that was my biggest sucker bet in 2025 so far.
All right. I'm going to go NFL late January, late January, Lions over Commanders. I love that second round of the NFL playoffs, right? You have two strong bye teams who almost always win. This year it was the Chiefs who don't get knocked out early, no matter how much Harry praised. And I paired them with the Lions who had to beat what I thought was happy to be their Commanders. So in Detroit, where the Lions won like 14 games in 2 years. So a couple plays out from making it to the Super Bowl in 2024. You figure they'd be prepared in Washington and they'd kick the living crap out of them. Not the case. 31 points for the Commies at half. Goff threw 3 picks, and my bet was garbage. And then, of course, Washington went on to give up 55 the next week in Philadelphia, and that was that. So I'm going to say Lions over Commanders was the sucker bet of the year, as far as I'm concerned. Harry, you going Rory, even with what he did and accomplished?
Yeah, I'm going to go Rory McIlroy for the PGA Championship at Quill Hollow. Look, he had won at the Players, then finally gets it done in Augusta to get his first green jacket. So it's coming in hot playing, and he had won 4 times previously at Quail Hollow. It's a perfect place for him to maybe get it done, to get another championship, another major, and go back to back. I had him all over the place. He sucked for me. The whole tournament sucked for me because he was never in it from the get-go. He missed every putt possible. And Rory tanked at Quail Hollow. It sucked because he was supposed to be so great there.
All right. So if you take anything away from this, it's that Rory sucked, and it sucked for Harry because Harry sucked all over the place.
That's exactly it.
There you go. All right. Let's take another break. We'll be back. We have more 2025 sports bets of the year. First half. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend. I am here with the D3. We're going over our awards, special awards for the first half of 2025 in all of sports. Let's keep it going with the Best Fan Award of 2025 first half. Is it Timothy Chalamet, 2-1 odds? Kylie Jenner, 5-1 odds. They sat together a lot. The drunk fan who fell at a Pirates game, 15-1 odds. He's okay. Don't worry, everybody. Or the Dumb and Dumber fans at the NBA Finals. Those guys were great. I don't know why it's so high at 25-1 odds. Or you could go field at even. Brother Bry, what are you going with?
Well, look, those Dumb and Dumber fans were great, but Sal, I'm going to go with take the field and go with your buddy John Hamm, right? It
you
seems
hate
like
this.
Look, it seems like he is in the front row of every sporting event, right, that we had seen, right? But we could see what a huge fan he is, right? So big, roots for multiple teams in every sport. You can see him wearing a Cardinals hat, a Yankees hat, right, Sal? A Chiefs hat, a Rams hat, a Knicks hat, a Lakers hat. The ultimate fan, almost the exact opposite of Harry. So I will go.
That's true.
John Hamm here. Right.
Really, the fact, I can't even believe that they're the same species, to be honest, now that I'm conjuring up the image in my head. All right. Parlay Kid, what are you going with? The fan of the year?
Look, was there a bigger fan this year than Reggie Miller of the Indiana Pacers, and just supposed to be being a total given unbiased reporting, unbiased and totally biased every single. I feel like it was just a troll job for the whole 6 games of the series, and he didn't care. All
right, I am going to say our fans at the March Madness event at Kimmel Comedy Club. We had over 100 people attend the 2 days in our annual March Madness spectacular. All fans of ours. Like very few just wandered in thinking they were seeing like the local magician upstairs. We played Race to 10 twice, Harry. We won both times. UCLA game was 9-8 forever. That place was bonkers. We gave out $10 to each member of the great and grateful crowd. Can't wait to do it again. Harry kept the shirt on too, and so did Kenny Mayne. Yeah, Harry, you're going with the same thing I said, right?
I'm with you, Sal. It was just so much fun. Everyone comes out and it's a blast. Brent and his Gonzaga guys, Bill and Florida Gators crew, bunch of guys from that are fans of Missouri Tigers and Michigan State Spartans. It's just a great time, and hopefully we can get Parlay Kid and Brother Bry out next year.
Let's do it. All right, listen. Best sports announcer call 2025. I want to listen to all of these because one's better than the other. Jim Nantz, McElroy wins the Masters 2-1 odds.
The land journey is over. McElroy has his masterpiece.
Larry Colmus, Preakness stretch call 5-1 odds.
Journalism is still running on. He's back into second. He might even win it. Here's the wire. Oh my goodness. Journalism has won the Preakness Stakes in a performance like you read about.
Bob Wischusen, Winnipeg, Dallas overtime goal game 6-7-1 odds.
Play to the corner by Pionk. Circling that second to Harley. Score! Series over!
Or Kevin Harlan, I'm wet, I'm dirty, stuff all over the place at 10-1 odds.
I'm wet, I'm dirty. Oh my, stuff all over the place, and here comes Brunson again.
Or the field at even. Parlay Kid, what you going with?
Yeah, let's take Larry Colmus here, Sal, and that Preakness stretch call. And as you know, I didn't even see it live.
Right.
I had to watch it in the replay, being that I had the runner up there, so I couldn't even believe it. What a call, though. Look, I'm not even a real big horse racing fan, but there's nothing better than a close horse race and the call to finish it. He absolutely nailed that one, Sal.
Yes, absolutely. And he should actually. You know, it's 2.5 minutes for the whole year. Go crazy,
true.
Larry. And he
That
did.
is true.
Harry, you're with Parlay Kid here.
I am. Wischusen one is amazing. It really is.
Yeah,
How the way
great.
it went down. But I'm going to go Calmus too. I mean, first of all, he's got to use, you can't see the race without binoculars for some parts of the race. So the guy's got binoculars. He's flawless in his delivery. The down the stretch call was amazing. He made me feel like he had thousands on it as well.
Correct.
Guys know horses. You could say it was a whole different animal, I guess you could say, right? I mean, he was fantastic.
It's a different animal, like from human. Yeah, I see what you're saying. All right, I am going to take that with Wischusen. Bob Wischusen, 7-1 odds. He's very underrated, by the way, as a broadcaster. He started off a fan guy, right? A WFAN update guy.
Correct.
Yeah. Then did some broadcasting for the Jets, the New York Jets. Then ESPN hired him as like a jack of all trades, did a bunch of college football, elevated to hockey. And these guys, just hockey guys in general, the most underappreciated play-by-play dudes and ladies in the world. How they follow the action and the jersey numbers and the names is astounding to me. And then on a dime, you have to make a gigantic call to end your season like he did, and he came through. What about Bob? I say 7-1 odds. Bri, you're going off field. Stacey King for the Bulls announcer.
2 seconds left. Katie for the win. Go! My God! I cannot believe this. Elizabeth, I'm coming, baby.
It was a great call, especially the way that game ended. That was a great regular season game. And I think Amin had the right amount of excitement on that shot, followed by King's very funny line, right? He had I don't know if you guys recall, he had a Sanford and Son line saying, "Elizabeth, I'm coming, baby." So I thought overall, I think the two guys just did a very good job on that game winner. And it was just so in the moment there. I mean, again, it really had it didn't impact anything on the season, but it's just a great call.
Sports is great. Calls like that make it great. Yep. And we are going to come back with a little more here on Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend. Fights this weekend, Oliveira, Topuria, and Jake Paul and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. when we return. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend. We are down to the nitty-gritty. I'm here with the D3, and we have just enough time to go over the boxing and UFC cards here. We'll do one fight each Saturday night. Lots of momentum going for this Jake Paul character. Wow. Well, I don't know how he does it. Not even a boxer. Minus 700. Julio Cesar Chavez, a legendary name. This is Junior at plus 450. And then in the UFC 317, it's Oliveira minus 410 and Topuria. Topuria minus 410 and Oliveira plus 290. That's how it goes. All right, Parlay Kid, let's start it off with you. Which of these two fights you taking, or are you making a parlay?
I was going to say Taporia. Has there been a more dominant fighter over the last few years than this gentleman? Maybe pound for pound, the best fighter in the world. In my book, he is right now. He's been steamrolling his opponents. He's fighting Oliveira, who to me has seen his better days. He'll still be game here, but eventually Taporia knocks him out. Let's go with that result. I think it's a slam dunk there. So.
All right, I am taking that, not the knockout, but for Taporia to advance to win in any match. Although I can't imagine, Harry's got different ideas. I think that's going to be a knockout. He is a finishing machine. You wait for his fist to like come out of the other side opponent's like torso, basically the way he throws punches. And then you got Jake Paul fighting Cesar Chavez Jr. He only fights MMA guys or boxers who have been washed up for anywhere from 10 to 35 years. Chavez, I was looking at his boxing record, lost to Anderson Silva in 2021. So the big fight was against Canelo like 8 years ago. That didn't go great for him or the fans. This feels like Paul will win fairly easily, but I think he has to lose 15 pounds for this. So he's going to carry the rounds on his way to another uneventful decision. Taporia to win, and Paul by decision plus 125 we're looking at now. Harry, you think in this, someone by submission, that's not the boxing match, right? That's the Taporia and Oliveira, right?
Right. Okay. The UFC match that somebody wins by submission at plus 320. Listen, I've been on fire with my UFC picks. Sorry, but I have. So someone takes plus 320. Somebody wins by submission. Taporia, 16 wins. Half of those he's done by submission. And Oliveira, 35 career wins, 21 by submission, and 4 of his 10 losses by submission have happened. So a plus 320, I think that's a decent price.
All right, there you go. Who are we to argue, Brian? I know he said he's sorry. I don't think he's sorry for winning all these UFC fights, but yeah.
I will say, look, if Oliveira wins, he's winning by submission. That's the way he would have to win for sure. And that could, that would have to probably be early in that fight. But Sal, I'll go with you too. I'll take the Paul by decision. It's funny to think Chavez Jr. Still only 39 years old, but like you were saying too, I mean, that loss to Silva, he hasn't fought in forever. Normally I would say this is the biggest step up in competition for Paul, but then you're like, I mean, he has fought so infrequently.
I know.
Maybe this would have been a huge step up if this was 8-9 years ago. I mean, I remember seeing Julio Cesar Chavez live, and that seemed like forever ago. So this just seems like it's on the same path to what we've seen. Chavez losing by knockout would be absolutely embarrassing, but I think this is another one of those Jake Paul by decision, and even that's embarrassing for Chavez.
There you go. All right, guys, we did it. We went over all the awards for the first half of 2025. We got some fight talk in there. That's going to do it for another episode of Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend for D3. I'm Sal saying so long and happy handicapping.